I came up with the top three things, or just basically three different aspects of worker versus entrepreneur. And I want to continue with this series because this, I believe, will help a lot of people out, because I think lately there's been so much or so many people that claim to be entrepreneurs or even believe that they might be that, or they're interested in getting started in that type of realm. And so this will either, number one, help them to describe themselves or come up with exactly who they really are, or it'll govern them and guide them in the direction of where they need to go. What's up, Eric? I see you. What up, Nate Dogg's in the house. So here we go. So the first thing that I wanted to talk about, number one, is, and this is huge, I'm gonna take a little bit of time to really decipher this, is finite perspective versus infinite perspective. And I'll tell you what I mean. If you're a worker, most of us, including myself, have had a job before. And I was telling one of my trainers a minute ago, I was talking about the job of, let's use a trash collector or sanitation worker, trash man. You guys get it. So the trash man, he goes to work, clocks in, gets his truck, sets up everything that he needs to do, and then he's got a route, usually. So he'll go on the route and he'll pick up the trash, and once he's done with that, maybe 4 or 5 hours, whatever, however long it takes to do that, then what he'll do is he'll take the trash and then he'll go to the dump and then dump the trash, come back to the station where he has his trash, truck need to be parked at, and then he'll finish up, and then he'll be done for the day. So that's a finite amount of work that he has to do. Basically all of his duties to be complete, right? So he'll do that. And then at the end of the day, he clocks out. That will signify for him a day's worth of work that's done. Now, he is going to be paid some type of wage that's already predetermined for this finite amount of work. So think about it. He's not going to, on his route, when he's going to empty the trash, explore and then have to mark it and then see if maybe there's a place over here that needs their trash emptied and see if he can find some different aspects of the job. He's got a finite amount of work to do. Once that work is completed, then that is it. Okay? And that's the worker. That's the worker mentality. They have a finite amount of work that they're going to complete for a wage. And once they're done with that amount of work, they want to be paid or compensated for that finite amount of work. Now, the entrepreneurial breakdown or concept is completely different, because there's an infinite amount of work that has to be done. Some of which can generate funds or money or compensation, some of which might not. But here's the thing, as you're working as an entrepreneur, you don't have the luxury to say that I've done this and I've done that, so pay me. Because until your efforts have the ability to generate revenue for you, then the work is ongoing. There's no end in sight. So it's work, hustle, market, work, hustle, market. And there's no work day. There's no complete work day that you're going to work. You can work 19 straight days and make nothing. Okay. Let's just say, for instance, if you take the job or the position of realtor. Okay, there's some people right now that are working a regular job, and they also say that they're a realtor. A lot of these people, or some of them, will never be able to cross over from having a regular job to having being able to do a realtor full time. Why? Because they're never willing to do enough work, that infinite type of work, in order to cross over from that finite perspective, because remember, what we do consistently is going to govern our perspective. So if I'm a finite person, like I've been working a job all of my life, right? Then how do I get that infinite type of perspective? It's the changing of the mind. Nate, you got it right. The changing of my mind, and if you think in a finite type of way, guess what? Even in an entrepreneurial situation, you will never get the true essence of being an entrepreneur, because you're always thinking in a finite way. Now, let me give you a practical application based on what I do. If I have a trainer that comes to me and they say, I've done this and I've done that, so now I expect for my efforts to produce this. No, that doesn't mean that that's going to happen, because you've got to continue and continue and continue and continue. And then ultimately, yes, you're going to reap the rewards of your hard work. But your mindset has to be on an infinite type of work and not on a finite. Like if I do X, Y, and Z, then it will be able to provide for me this. Okay. So that's number one. Okay. And I find in what I'm doing now, sometimes I encounter those who have that finite way of thinking. Now, here's the thing. It's not the end of the world, but you must, the first step, and they say the first step is to admitting you have a problem. And it's not necessarily a problem, but what it is admitting and knowing what you're dealing with. And then that way you're better apt to be able to overcome certain things if you truly desire and want to work your way to being a successful entrepreneur. So the next thing I wanted to talk about is success habits versus stress habits. Now, and I just coined that. So if anyone wants to copy my stuff, I need $29.99 every time you use it. No, but seriously. So success habits. I was talking, or I saw a post that our CEO of, and he said he was talking about the habits, or what we do on a consistent basis. It says it takes 21 days of consistent whatever to create a habit, whether it's good or whether it's bad. So a lot of us, including myself, we've created habits, okay? Success habits. So those types of things that are going to cultivate success, okay? Those type of things that are going to cultivate success. Now, a true entrepreneur is going to embrace those things. They're going to hold those things near and dear, and they're going to work for them, because it is, Eric, it is how bad you want it, but also it's how bad you're willing to work for it as well. Okay. So that's the first one. Want it and work for it. So those success habits. So every day creating positive success habits that are going to steer you toward your ultimate goal of success versus stress habits. Now think about this for a second. Now, if let's just say, for instance, the business that I'm in. Now, I've been doing the job of cultivating other like-minded individuals who want to come down the same road, and they want to run their business out of my facility here at Self-Made Training Facility. Now, if I tell them these are the things that are going to make you successful, and those things, they see those as stressful things they have to complete, then guess what? They have more of the stress habits, because, thinketh a man, so is he, right? So if I'm already thinking that the things you're telling me to do to be successful are stressful, then I'm already working on my stress habits instead of working on success habits. Okay. So I'm telling you right now, you've got to focus on the things that will ultimately make you successful, and don't look at those things are burdensome. Okay. Like when I have to talk to 50 trainers to get 2, that's not a burden. That's a blessing. Okay. Because at the end of the day, I'm moving forward. I'm being able to ultimately see my fruits create what I want for myself and for my life. And that is is positive. That's not a negative. That's not something that's stressful. This is, like Miguel says all the time, man, this is awesome. This is not really work. You know what I mean? But for you, if you've got that finite perspective, and then you see the things you have to do as stress habits or stressful to you, then maybe you are not an entrepreneur. Okay. And that's what we're really dealing with here. Okay. And then I love this. I love this. I love this. And I said it in my last talk. I said excuses. Oh man, I'm starting not to even want to be around those type of people. If you know me, and this is, if you know me, if you work with me, I got to cut to the chase here. Don't tell me no excuses. I don't want to hear the excuse about why you're not successful. If I'm not successful, it's because of me. If my gym doesn't do well, it's because of me. It's no other reason. And this is not me like complaining. This is me keeping it real. If you are an excuse, I wrote it here. If you want to ride on the excuse train, okay? If you ride on the excuse train every day, listen, I'm not riding with you. I don't ride on the excuse train. I ride on Ingenuity Express, and we be rolling. So I don't have time for the excuses. I don't want to hear excuses. Even for myself, for my life, I never make excuses. There's never a reason why I did not achieve or accomplish anything. Because a lot of times what happens is as you start to make excuses, you start to believe them. You start to believe that it's really someone else's fault for you not being successful. Like I've had people point the finger at me. Tell me there's something that I did that ultimately caused them not to be successful. I'm sorry, brother or sister. It's nothing I did that made you not be successful. I tell it to my son, listen, we have to carve out our own path of success. I can't make it for you. All I can do is mentor you. I can try to give you the best of myself. But if you are not successful, look at yourself right up in that mirror and say, self, what is it that I'm doing? What type of finite perspective am I using? What type of closed-minded approach am I taking to my daily life? You know, what type of success habits have you created? Do a list of 10. Write them down. Success number 1. One of the things that I do when I first wake up is I'm thankful that I woke up, and I feel a sense of gratification that I have an opportunity to do it again. You know what I mean? So I said, okay, great. You know, I wake up really early. My alarm goes off at 4 something in the morning. So I wake up and I get up and I'm automatically energized. I mean, I wake up and it's like, you know, sometimes my girlfriend, she can't understand. I wake up and I feel like, man, I don't drink coffee. That's not my thing. Some of you do. That's cool. But I wake up and I'm like, God, thank you for waking me up. And I feel that energy right off the bat. I feel like someone just gave me like a jolt of fresh air. And so I wake up and then I get up and then I focus in on the things that I have to do, the task of the day that I have to complete. And it never makes me feel some type of way in a negative perspective. It never makes me feel bad. I always feel that I have the opportunity. I mean, shoot, I'm a business owner. I'm running my own business. What's better than that? That's the American dream. Okay. And so again, the reason why I'm doing these talks and trying to establish some of these things is because even people who are close to me that are working on my business, that are thinking about working with me, these are the things you need to ask yourself, and not answering to me. I'm not your boss. You're your own boss. But what you need to do is in those moments, those quiet moments, that you speak to yourself. When you speak to yourself, you got to listen. You tell yourself, hey, listen, this is who I really am. This is why I'm successful or I'm not successful. And once you can answer those questions truthfully to yourself, then you really figure out who you are and where you're going and where your life is headed. And then you'll really be able to ascertain whether you are an entrepreneur or you're not. And so for me, that's what I am. I'm an entrepreneur. Even in my situation, like right now, I've got my bachelor's, and I like to tell people my credentials, not to brag, but to just tell you, because when I was first going toward, getting a job and taking care of my family, in my mind, I listened to what society said. So I went to college. Nothing wrong with college. I went to college. I dropped out, then I went back to college, and I got my bachelor's in kinesiology. Okay. And then someone said, oh, you need your master's. So I went back to school and I got my master's. And then I got my teaching credential. And then I cleared my teaching credential. And so anyway, along the lines, I've been working since I was 18. I'm almost 39. I'll be 39 next month. And every job that I've ever had, I wasn't really the best employee because I always felt like I could do it better. I always felt like I was more intelligent than the person that was leading or in the lead or the boss or the supervisor. And so, but I've never been scared to work hard, but I always felt like every job I had that I wanted to be the boss, that I wanted to be the one calling the shots, that I wanted to be the one telling people what to do. And so every time, no matter what job it was, I've had some good ones, no matter what job it was, I always found myself quitting or getting let go because I never wanted to conform to the things that they were telling me that I had to conform to. And so ultimately I found, my dad told me one time, he said, listen, son, he told me, he said, you are never going to do well at a job because you were born with this entrepreneurial spirit to be able to run your own life. Okay. And you got it from me. And now no matter what you do, no matter what job you get, you're always going to feel that yearning, that feeling in your heart that you want to do something else because you're going to get there and you're going to think there's a better way. You're going to get there and you're going to tell the boss that you should be in charge. And so finally, I just said, okay, I'm going to believe in myself enough and then execute these specific things that I needed to do. Okay. So I just want to go over real quickly. I just went over 3 things and worker versus entrepreneur. And I'm not throwing anyone under the bus. Please trust me. I don't think I'm better than anyone. I just think that God has given all of us different gifts and different abilities and different things that we're able to execute, with greater fidelity than others. And there's some people that are awesome workers. They're working for a boss and they're successful. And that doesn't mean that you cannot be successful being a employee. I've been an employee all my life. And so I'm not too good to be an employee. It just is not something that I believe that God really meant for me. And especially as I embark on the second part of my life, I think that this is where God is really pointing me in the direction to. And so I'm going to be obedient and head that way. So worker versus entrepreneur, that finite perspective, that thinking that all I have to do is do this, and then that will ensure my success, versus an infinite perspective and where there's never anything ending in terms of me being successful, that it's ongoing. My ultimate success, if it takes me a million emails plus a million contacts and whatever, that I'll never stop just because I feel like I've done a day's worth of work. It's always ongoing. It's never stopping. It's never ending. There's always something that you can be doing, that you should be working on in order to ensure your success. Number 2, success habits, creating those positive habits that are going to ultimately lead you to your goal, versus stress habits, which means that you see those things of an entrepreneur as things that are stressful or fearful. So if you see yourself like, not having a guaranteed income or always knowing exactly when that next check is coming, if you see that as stressful and not as a potential opportunity to make money or to be successful, then you're working in the stress habits. Stay away from stress habits. And then don't get on that excuse train, okay? Ride on the Ingenuity Express. And that means coming up with multiple solutions for problems as they arise. Okay, I'm not the smartest guy on the earth, but I do think that persistency and belief, it goes a long way, believing that you can do it and understanding that there's going to be challenges. If it was easy, and I know this is cliche, everybody would be doing it. Even public speaking, whatever is hindering you, or anything that might be difficult to you, okay? It's always going to get difficult, especially when you're getting closer to your goal, okay? I love that I'm able to speak to you guys. It gives me straight energy. I was sitting there and I was rapping. I was talking. Matter of fact, I was talking to Sarah and one of my trainers. I'm going to go in here. They're hiding from me. I guess it was too loud. Yeah. So they're in here. I was talking to them. I was telling them about what I wanted to talk to you guys about. And I just couldn't keep it in my spirit. I had to just let it out. So I appreciate you guys listening to me. I hope I didn't ramble. Nate, it was good seeing you, man. I hope you and your family's doing good. I seen Brian. What's up, Brian? Brian Ross, that's my dog. Richard, what's up, man? And Carlita, how you doing? So appreciate it, guys. I'm going to keep coming and bringing you content about the entrepreneurial spirit and how to really continue to walk in your destiny if that's something that you're interested in. And then also, even if you are someone that's in the workforce right now and you're an employee, nothing wrong with that. You can take some of these tips and some of these mindsets into your place of business and where you're working and use that to be the best employee that you can be, and then catapult yourself to being able to have a more efficient type of experience at your work. So appreciate it. God bless. See you guys later.